Happy Saw Month! For the past 3 years, it has become an annual tradition for me in the month of May to rewatch the entire Saw franchise. Why? I don't know, it just kind of happened. Each year I sat down, cracked open a Coke, and ordered pizza and watched these stupid films. Do I like these films? No. Do I love them? No. Yeah, and I think it boils down to how this franchise is so insane, so stupid, that every year I sit down and watch this franchise. Why? Because of how much enjoyment I get from the hilarious editing, the fucking terrible scripts, the shitty acting.
No, it's you son of a bitch!
Larry.
Hallie?
And the twists that destroy each film's logic after the next. These films are a guilty pleasure of mine. I don't love these films, but they're just so fucking fun to watch that I keep coming back every year. It's a yearly tradition for me now just to sit down and suffer through these movies and laugh even harder as I progress through each film.
But let's go back to the year 2003. James Wan and Leigh Whannell had a concept for a film they had wanted to make for years, but they didn't have $1 million to make it. Unable to secure funding in Australia, they traveled to the United States where their project garnered interest from producers. But how do you make a feature-length horror film with just under $1 million? Well, it's simple actually. Just keep your main characters stuck in a room. From there, they went on to create the very first Saw film. But what Wan and Whannell didn't know was how their film would soon become a double-digit franchise that would dominate the box office. Saw debuted at the Sundance Film Festival in 2004 and was released theatrically later that year by Lionsgate. Saw was a commercial success, leading to the production of multiple sequels. Over the whole series, it had 5 directors and various screenwriters, with Wan and Whannell serving as executive producers throughout.
We're not really into, gizzards spilling out of, somebody's stomach or heads being cut off. That stuff's
Despite the
fun.
sequels of Saw.
Yeah,
Each film that was released received less and less positive reviews, although the series has grossed over $1 billion worldwide, with an 11th installment expected to be released in September 2025. The Saw franchise has left an undeniable mark on horror cinema, blending its psychological thrills with gruesome traps that test characters' moral fiber. Since its first film was released, the series has evolved, introducing new characters, intricate plots, and expanding its stupid timeline. All while each film was continuously panned by critics, this franchise never seemed to die. Jakob Ross, film guy here, and I'm about to talk about every Saw film ever made.
I also wanted to mention that as we go through each Saw film here today, I'm going to be ranking them on this board. That way, by the end of this video, you and I will figure out just how good this franchise really is. Again, this whole series is a guilty pleasure of mine, so I may rank one higher just based on how much enjoyment I get from it, and also because of how shit it is. Also, when I'm ranking them, I will consider how good the traps are and how good the story is. And with that, let's play a game.
Saw opens up with one of our main protagonists, Adam, waking up in a bathtub. Already I'm scratching my head. How long was Adam sitting in this bathtub? It looks like he's been unconscious for quite some time, and we can clearly see there was no ripples in the water. How is he alive? It wasn't like Jigsaw just dropped him in there.
Who's that?
There's no point in yelling. I already tried that.
Turn on the lights!
Alright, so yeah, here we meet Dr. Lawrence Gordon, who sounds like he's been there for a bit of time already. He sounds pretty defeated as well, almost like he's been calling for help for almost hours. Doesn't really make any sense, but thankfully it gets worse from here.
Hang on a second. I think I've heard something.
No fucking way it took Gordon that long to search for a light switch when it was just directly next to you. Anyway, since turning on the light, Adam and Gordon discover that they have a third roommate. Together they both try to come up with a reason as to why they have been kidnapped before discovering a tape and noticing that the dead man is holding a tape recorder.
I'm over here stroking my dick. I got lotion on my dick right now. I'm just stroking my shit.
Adam and Gordon fuck around for a bit until they find a pair of saws and try to cut free. Before Gordon realizes what they have to do.
He doesn't want us to cut through our chains. He wants us to cut through our feet.
This transitions us into a flashback, the first of what will be thousands. Here we meet detectives David Tapp, Stephen Singh, and Allison Carey, who all stumble upon one of the first traps in the series. But this is also where the main question about Jigsaw begins.
Technically speaking, he's not really a murderer.
Right now, there's a slow-acting poison in your veins.
Sounds like he poisoned that guy. At the crime scene, the detectives discover a pen belonging to Dr. Lawrence Gordon, who go to his office and question him. And maybe, this is just me, but I would assume that if someone found my DSI beside someone who was murdered, I'd be taken into custody for questioning. Where these guys just pull up and are like, yo, I found your pen, bro. Oh, I've been looking for that! But yeah, the police are sus that Gordon was there at the time of the murder, as he claims to be home with his wife and kid, but that is certainly not true. From here we get to meet another main character in this franchise, Miss Amanda Young, who will play a bigger role in the series later on. It is here that we learn about her experiences as being one of the first to make it out of a Jigsaw trap alive. Amanda claims that Jigsaw helped her and is now going to live a long, happy life. Aww.
Ain't that swell?
Back in the bathroom, Adam and Gordon discover that they are currently being watched with their every move, while Tapp and Singh may have discovered the location of Jigsaw's hideout at an old mannequin factory. Tapp and Singh reload their Half-Life shotguns and head in to investigate. Fun Saw fact, this shot contains Lee Wanell because they couldn't get the actor for Singh on the day of the shoot. I don't know, I thought that was cool. Anyway, so they bust into the building and discover some odd shit.
What the hell is this?
That fucker's playing with dolls. They also find Mr. Jiggy Witted Saw and a new victim of his twisted traps. Tapp and Singh attempt to arrest him. Singh tries to save the man, but Tapp gets one-tapped. Singh chases Jigsaw down, but gets one-pumped. Tapp survives somehow and believes the killer to be Gordon, going out to hunt him down. Meanwhile, Adam and Gordon find a box hidden in the wall. Inside it, Gordon finds a note telling him that in order to win the game, he must kill Adam with a poisoned cigarette from the blood of the dead man in the room. He also finds a phone, although it can only receive calls rather than sending them. Without Adam looking, Gordon poisons one of the cigarettes and shuts off the lights, telling Adam to act dead after smoking it. This ultimately doesn't work as he gets electrocuted after playing dead.
I'm using my rose toy. I'm using my rose toy. I'm using my rose toy.
After this, Gordon gets a call. Here we find out that Adam was hired by David Tapp to take pictures of Gordon while he was out and about with one of his coworkers. Adam and Gordon then yap for a long enough time to realize that they are out of time. It's here that we find out that one of Gordon's coworkers, Zepp, was the man watching them this whole time, and also holding Gordon's wife and kid hostage. Gordon gets a call, and we get some of the best line delivery in the whole series.
No, it's you son of a bitch!
Larry.
Hallie?
Hallie?
You fail.
No. The line is game over. David Tapp overhears the commotion going on and gears up to head over to the apartment. Upon entering, Zepp and David get into a gunfight. Checking back on Gordon. Alright, we'll come back to him. David and Zepp have the goofiest looking car chase ever to the factory where Gordon and Adam are located. Gordon and Adam sit helplessly until Gordon gets yet another call. Unfortunately for him, he can't reach the phone. Now Gordon's had enough. That's it. I'm getting the heck out of here. David Tapp gets shot. Gordon breaks free and shoots Adam. Zepp strolls in. Adam attacks Zepp and finishes him off with a part of the toilet. Gordon and Adam have a wholesome moment before Gordon worms out of there. Adam fishes around in Zepp's pocket and finds a tape recorder. Here we find out that Zepp wasn't the mastermind behind this all along. It was the dude sleeping in the room with them. Yeah. So, yeah, Mr. John Kramer was the man behind the slaughter.
Game over.
Wait, hold on. If all Gordon had to do was kill Adam with that poisoned cigarette, then does that mean that John was breathing in that shit the entire time? Another thing that always makes me scratch my head is how throughout this whole series, Jigsaw always makes his traps quick and easy, but for this one, He made a whole fucking escape room with hidden keys and notes. Why is Gordon and Adam so damn important to him? We'll see if any of this gets explained later on, because of course, if you leave your film on a cliffhanger, that means it's open for a sequel.
Game over.
Saw 1 sets up a lot of information about John Kramer and his victims, but they don't explore it as much as they do later on, making it as a standalone film, in my opinion, a lot of fun. For now, I'm gonna place it in the number 2 spot. You can easily watch just this one film in the series and understand what the whole franchise is gonna be like. But that's not reality. In reality, we have 9 more of these to cover. So let's get to work.
Just 1 year after the release of Saw 1 and Saw 2 is already hitting theaters. While Saw 1 was great as a standalone film, Saw 2 cemented this into a franchise. Now it's just torture porn. Darren Lynn Bousman takes over the director's chair as well, and is kinda the reason why Saw ended up taking the route it did. Not to mention, John Kramer was on the rise of becoming part of the most iconic horror characters of all time. You can't walk into a Halloween store without seeing mentions of Saw or Billy the Puppet right in your face. And lucky for James Wan and Leigh Whannell to have casted Tobin Bell as John Kramer in the first one, because as each film goes on, it's really apparent just how much he was made for this role.
In Saw 4, there's a trap that I'm involved with that wasn't working properly mechanically. And I had an idea on how we should change it, and so we changed it, and it worked much better, and it worked better dramatically.
Alright, let's jump into it. Saw 2 jumps right back into the action with our first new trap of the series, and now is the time I let you know that the first Saw film contains the least gore in the series, so beware as we continue on. Jigsaw's back, baby, and better than ever. So yeah, this guy here has to get a key to unlock this death mask around his head. The problem? The key is in his eye. Obviously, this guy doesn't make it out, and we get introduced to Officer Donnie Wahlberg, the brother of Mark Wahlberg and the co-owner of Wahlburgers. We follow him as he picks up his piece of shit son from the police station after he stole something.
Well then go!
Well then go! God, I love this shit. Next we get this goofy ass transition, and don't worry, they get better from here. That leads us into the investigation of the death mask trap we saw earlier. Apparently the building he was in had been abandoned for over 2 years now, and finally I'm starting to ask the real questions. How the fuck can John Kramer afford all of this? Especially finding all of these abandoned warehouses and storing all his shit in it. I don't know if you've ever looked up commercial spaces to rent. It's like $70,000 a month. Okay, Jigsaw. Anyway, on the body, Donnie Wahlberg discovers that a jigsaw piece was cut out from this dude's back, and that Jigsaw's calling him out. Jumping ahead, the ops have found out where Jigsaw's warehouse is, and head over with the SWAT team to get him. Jigsaw's just kinda hanging out there, enjoying a nice bowl of soup, while all the SWAT team get absolutely fucked up Home Alone style. Jigsaw ultimately gets busted, and he's like, hey Donnie, go check out that room over there. Donnie Wahlberg checks it out and notices that his son is on the camera, and now he is officially over it and needs answers from John Kramer right away. But John just starts trolling him so fucking hard. This motherfucker even changed his son's voicemail.
You've reached Daniel's phone. He's not in right now.
Fucking hilarious. We then transition to the gang stuck in a brand new Jigsaw trap, who all pace back and forth terrified as to why they're all in there. All of a sudden we find out Amanda's back in the game. Holy shit. Amanda immediately begins to search the room for a tape, and it's here we find out that the door to escape will open in 3 hours. However, the gang is breathing in toxic fumes and will die in 2 hours unless they can find an antidote to cure them. Supposedly the antidote lies in this safe, in which...
Thank God. The numbers are in the back of your mind.
Gee, Jigsaw, I wonder if you're being literal in what you're saying. Anyway, so the meathead finds a key and a note that clearly says, do not use this key to open the door. So he uses the key to open the door. This dumbass stands in the way and gets blasted by a gun on the other side. I know these people didn't know there was a gun on the other side, but if this dumbass wasn't standing there, he would still be alive. John does some more trolling, and the gang make it out of the first room.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Doesn't look like it. Back at the crib, John and Donnie have a one-on-one conversation as requested by John. John just keeps absolutely murking Donnie in this conversation before requesting some fine agua. The gang stumbles upon a basement door that leads them into their next challenge. This dude jumps into the trap and grabs the antidote. Well,
That was easy.
You fucking idiot. You're telling me Meathead couldn't have kept that door open? Well, poor Obby gets turned into BBQ. The gang attempts to open the glass on the other side of the trap, succeeding, but they're too late.
You had a choice.
Yeah, Amanda. He simply could have refused to get in that trap. Donnie and Jigsaw continue yapping.
I've never murdered anyone in my life.
Next, we move on to possibly one of the nastiest traps in the series, the needle pit. Although, according to the tape, this was made for Meathead, he picks up Amanda and throws her into the pit. That's unfair.
There's a room filling with deadly gas.
Yeah.
To get out of the room, they need a key. The key is buried in an enormous pit full of hundreds of used hypodermic needles.
Yes.
Which film?
2.
Correct.
Amanda, after a long, grueling search, eventually finds the key, but Meathead fumbles around too long and the door seals forever. Let's check in on Johnny and Don. John and Donnie argue back and forth once again, and now we're getting to the goods. It turns out that Donnie Wahlberg had arrested all of the people in the trap with his son, and they probably don't like him very much as he planted a bunch of evidence in their cases to help them be put in jail. Ah, shit. If these people find out that Donnie is this kid's dad, he is fucked. Meathead stumbles back into the first room they started in and makes an interesting discovery.
The numbers are in the back of your mind. The clue to their order can be found over the rainbow.
Ah yes, the back of your mind. Jigsaw, you're such a prankster. Meathead attacks the rest of the gang, looking for all the numbers. Donnie Wahlberg can't take it anymore and he starts to kick the shit out of Jigsaw for answers. One of the chicks in the trap just wanders in and sticks both of her arms in this box without thinking, and of course, she starts to bleed out. Oh well. And Donnie eventually breaks John into showing him where his son's at. All while Amanda and Donnie's son are in trouble with the Meathead. A lot of shit happens within the next 20 minutes of this film, so stick with me here. Donnie pulls up to the house and heads in to save his son. Amanda and the kid flee from the Meathead, and at the same time, the SWAT team pulls up to the house. Although Allison Carey doesn't see the team on the cameras. Donnie Wahlberg finds each of the bodies, although for some reason, they are badly rotten. Donnie goes down the same basement door where Amanda, his son, and the Meathead had all gone down earlier. Amanda and Donnie's son soon find themselves in the first trap from Saw 1. Meathead comes in and Amanda's like, how you gonna know the numbers on the back of your neck? And he's like, well shit, so he just cuts it off and puts it in his pocket. What the fuck? Well, now it's time for twist number 1. Because guess what? The live feed isn't actually live. Wow, I didn't see that one coming. So yeah, all the events that take place in the trap already happened before Donnie Wahlberg strolled into Jigsaw's place. But does Donnie's son make it out alive? Well, let's find out. As Donnie strolls into the first Saw trap, we see... Oh shit! Well, looks like it's time for twist number 2. Donnie's son was in a safe this whole time? That's fucking stupid. Oh, Jigsaw, you're such a goofball. So yeah, it turns out that someone was waiting inside the building for Donnie to get there and knocked him out, chaining him up inside the OG trap. And now it's time for twist number 3. Drum roll, please.
Hello, Eric. You probably don't even remember me, but you changed my life once.
Amanda's been working with Jigsaw all along? What? Yep, I guess ever since her first trap experience, she's like, yeah, I want to kill people too. So I guess technically, she was supposed to make it out of this trap alright without getting hurt, but that didn't go as planned. She even gets to say the classic line.
Game over.
I'll fucking kill you!
Womp womp. Saw 2 has a lot of issues, like John Kramer was really banking on that kid making it out alive or the cop's game wouldn't have worked at all. All that Donnie Wahlberg had to do was just sit there and wait. A lot of these traps seemed poorly thought out, only servicing the plot and genuinely doesn't make sense when you really think about it. Like, I guess this glass box was really just bait? If someone was with her, there would be an easy way out of it. Just by pushing on the side you stuck your arm in. Or just smash the box with the bat that y'all been using. In fact, why not just use the bat to fish around in the needle pit? It looks like the actual key wasn't nearly that deep. The main thing this film has going against it though is by making Amanda a twist villain.
Despite Saw 2 being a fun watch, it ultimately starts brewing this stupid timeline of twists that's gonna get worse as we progress. For now, I'm gonna be putting Saw 2 in the number 5 spot, just because I think we can do better here.
One Halloween later and they've already pumped out another Saw.
And now, the rules get even more twisted. Saw 3.
And like the previous film, this one's directed by Darren Lynn Bousman. And now that Amanda's a part of the Jigsaw team, I guess you may as well develop that ending twist a little more.
You're gonna learn a lot more about Amanda. Maybe even more than you ever wanted to know.
But man, does it just not work. With this one, Amanda ultimately becomes a less interesting character than the previous two, with her character completely changed now and becoming a main villain with John Kramer. I feel like Amanda's character just worked much better as a drug addict who was reformed from her traumatized experience of being in a trap. She really makes the most iconic scene of the franchise, and now I really just don't know how I feel about her character anymore. It truly felt like her character had so much more depth rather than just being another henchman of Jigsaw.
Well, acting is like a game of tennis, so the better your opponent, the better you're gonna play.
Oh well. Saw 3 opens up with Donnie Wahlberg chained up in the Saw 1 bathroom. How does he make it out? Well, he's got a saw, but he has a better idea.
Oh my god. That actually made me cringe.
Up next, we get a brand new trap that later gets discovered by Rig and Carrie, who are hopeful that it's Donnie, as he has been missing for several weeks by this point. Carrie shows up at the scene, and here we meet God himself, Detective Hoffman, who we'll be seeing more of in the future. Later that night, Carrie's chilling in the tub and gets a Donnie Wahlberg jump scare, before sitting down to watch The Tonight Show with Jigsaw and then getting jump scared into a trap. Carrie fails her test due to the fact that it was basically unbeatable, and then we get a new character, Lynn, who's an A+ nurse at a hospital. She is so good at her job that she gets kidnapped by Jigsaw and is forced to complete a brain surgery to remove Jigsaw's brain tumor. I feel like this is a good point to talk about the plot, because it sucks. Jigsaw's moral lessons here are getting hella questionable, because we get introduced to another new character who is basically just this drunk asshole father named Jeff, who isn't handling the death of his son very well. His son was killed in a drunk driving accident and spends most of his days neglecting his daughter and drinking. You know, just another Tuesday. And now he's in a trap. So what? Did Jigsaw just read the news and saw this guy's son died and decided, you know what, I'm gonna check on him and see if he's appreciating his life? Whatever. Back in the lab, Jigsaw does the Harlem Shake, and Lynn attempts to convince Amanda that he needs to go to a real hospital. But Amanda is dead set on keeping him here. Also, I forgot to mention that Lynn has a shotgun necklace that will shoot her if Jigsaw Kramer ultimately dies. This is her test, I guess. Lynn did nothing wrong, and now she's in a trap. Spam hashtag Lynn did nothing wrong in the comments if you agree. So, Jeff moves fucking painfully slow through this entire trap. And finds a woman in a freezer.
A girl is strung up in a meat locker.
Yeah.
It's a cold meat locker.
Yeah.
Randomly, at random intervals, ice cold water is being sprayed on her until she freezes to death into a block of ice. Which film?
6.
3.
Jeff's task is to grab a key through some cold bars and unlock her. Simple enough. Problem is that this woman was about the only other person to witness Jeff's son's death, and she just drove away. I don't know how Jigsaw knows any of this, because it's not like there would be any record of her being there if she just drove away. Jigsaw's just a really smart guy. He just read ahead of the script. Jeff just walks around her, shitting on her, before very fucking slowly attempting to save her. Of course, he's too late, because by the time he gets the damn key, the lady's already a popsicle. Womp womp. We get some bullshit backstory about Amanda helping Jigsaw from the start. We see them loading up for the bathroom trap. They show Adam, but not Gordon, probably because he was busy suing them. This leads us into the next trap. Uh-oh. Jeff's gotta judge the judge that let his son's killer walk free. The judge is strapped down inside this container as rotting pigs are ground up and fill the container. Yuck. Jeff burns his son's belongings to save the judge. Lynn performs surgery on a grape. John. God, I fucking wrote that. Then Jeff makes it to the final test against the man who killed his son. In order to get the key to save him, he has to pull a key out of a box and take a bullet for him. But the judge he just saved walks into the gun like a dumbass. Okay, stop. Jeff could have just tied his shirt to the key and moved out of the way, and they both would have been fine. Too bad you're dead.
Yeah, there's some radical traps in this one that just,
Jeff doesn't save the kid in time, and off he goes to Jigsaw. It's fucking insane how Jigsaw's plan just so happened to work out perfectly again. He knew the judge was just gonna randomly die, and then that this lady was never gonna get saved in the easiest trap possible. He knew Amanda wasn't gonna let Lynn go free, so Jeff could just come in and accidentally kill his wife. Yup, that's right. Lynn is Jeff's wife.
What a twist!
This dude knew everything. Jigsaw's just so fucking smart. What a coincidence that Jeff was dealing with the death of his son, and it just so happens that his wife is an A+ nurse. I'm gonna kidnap her too and make her fix my cancer. So yeah, Jeff comes in and shoots Amanda for shooting Lynn, and then Jigsaw actually dies, killing Jeff's wife in the process. Wow, what a great way to end this franchise. Until one Halloween later!
Saw 3, out of the first trilogy, is by far the worst one. Every year when I sit down and watch these, this is the one that is so fucking brutal to get through. Maybe it's Jeff being slower than a fucking garbage truck, or the fact that nothing in this film matters, and all these new characters have as much personality as a plank of wood. Saw 3 is by far the worst one we've seen, and now we're getting to the point of these films where they just start making shit up. Saw 3 is going in number 9.
It's 2007, and if it's Halloween, it must be Saw. So yeah, Jigsaw's fucking dead, so where do you even take it from here? Jigsaw's the whole reason these films are even good in the first place, so let's see what you got, Twisted Pictures. Saw 4 opens up with John Kramer getting opened up. They find a tape in his stomach? In the last entry, Jigsaw just knew everything was gonna happen, so he swallowed a tape with some juicy details on it. Yummy. Basically all he says is, I'm dead, but I'm still gonna be doing shit. I can only imagine that if Jeff didn't kill him, he would just have to live out his remaining days attempting to shit out that fucking waxed up tape. After this, we get a new trap. 2 men, 1 chain. One has his eyes sewn shut while the other has his mouth sewn shut. Almost immediately, the guy who has his eyes sewn thinks the other guy coming towards him is his attacker. But around this guy's neck is a key that would unlock both of their chains. And I know the other guy can't talk to him, but he could at least mumble a sentence to him. Oh well. The plot starts with Officer Riggs finding Carrie's body from the last movie.
Oh my god, what the fuck?
They didn't have to put that.
Yeah, they did.
And while Riggs was only a minor side character from the last 2, now he's a main protagonist. Gotta work with what you got, I guess. All of your original main characters are already dead. Well, now it looks like we get some new main characters to kill off. Introducing FBI agents Strom and Perez, who were sent here to figure out why the fuck everyone's dying. Riggs gets sent home for some time off, so I guess it's time to kick back and relax. Oh, fuck. Well, maybe not. Riggs has always been a pretty solid guy throughout these past 2 movies, so I don't exactly understand why he's now being put in a trap. Well, let's hear it, Jigsaw.
But with your survival came your obsession. You wanted to save everyone. Tonight, I give you the opportunity to face your obsession.
Yeah, you're obsessed with trying to save your friends. What the fuck does this have to do with appreciating life? Did you forget your morals? Why not just throw away his morals and make him say, fuck it, I'm gonna kill everyone? It would make more sense at least. Turns out Donnie Wahlberger's still alive somehow, who's also trapped with Detective Hoffman. And Jigsaw's like, come and save them and battle your obsession with saving people, I guess. I don't fucking know, man.
Their lives hang in the balance of your obsession. Will you learn how to let go and truly save them?
So Rigg finds in his apartment a woman strapped to a death chair that's gonna pull her scalp off if Rigg doesn't save her in time. But it wasn't until Saw 4 that the filmmakers decided it was a good idea to start getting a little more creative with their transitions. And in this scene, they just keep going back and forth, and the result is incredibly fucking stupid. What did you have to interrupt this scene for? Oh, you found some prints. Thank fucking God. Well, I guess we can get back to the trap now. Rigg finally decides to shoot the damn trap, and it works for a second before starting back up again. Cool, you wasted 5 bullets. Did you think about shooting the damn ponytail? He frees her, but uh-oh, she's trying to kill him now. This is all pretty exciting. I wonder how Rigg's gonna survive this. Oh, fuck. Oh, thank God. I was really worried about those fucking prints. So we go back for the 3rd time to this scene, and it turns out Jigsaw was blackmailing her into thinking Rigg would lock her up in a prison after he freed her. Why? I don't know. He even told her that there was a weapon under the TV, so while half of her scalp was being ripped off, I don't know about you, but I would have said, hey Riggs, go under the TV and cut me free. But whatever, saving people bad, lesson learned. Now Rig gets a key for the next location, meaning he can just leave and do whatever he wanted. But he moves to the next location because he's so obsessed with saving people. Could have called for backup or notified the police about what's going on, but no, that would have been the smart thing to do. So he moves into this hotel room where he discovers the next part of his test. All he has to do is kidnap this guy working at the hotel, who is a pedophile. Cool, glad we're killing pedos now rather than just depressed people.
Be careful. There are cameras watching. And you must hide your identity.
Why would that matter? If there were cameras everywhere, wouldn't they have already filmed him going into the building? But it doesn't fucking matter. Strom and Perez come across the carnage of the previous scene and discover photos of the woman named Jill Tuck, who is Jigsaw's ex-wife.
When you signed on for Saw 3, did you have any idea of where your character was gonna go?
No, I was just happy to be doing anything in a Saw movie.
I guess we gotta have more characters now, so let's go meet her. Unfortunately for us, Miss Jill Tuck can't act for shit. In the previous films, even the smaller characters who were just there to add to the kill count still managed to do at least a decent job at acting. But Jill is played by Betsy Russell, who wasn't in much prior to this franchise, so how did she land a major role like this?
Serious, were you a fan of the franchise before you had even signed on?
I'm not a horror fan, but, you know, my friends were the producers, and yeah, I was definitely very excited for them.
Oh, you were friendly with the producers beforehand?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know them?
Well, I was engaged to Mark Berg. Yeah. So.
That would do it.
Yeah.
So Rig kidnaps and straps the pedo down to this trap, and he has to stab both of his eyes within 60 seconds or all of his limbs will be torn off. He does only one at a time rather than doing both and finishing the trap. Yeah, I'm just gonna see if it feels good before I do the second eye. He fails and his limbs go flying everywhere. Back with Jill and Strom in the interrogation room, we get some more backstory on why Jigsaw is such an asshole. And so far, I'm not quite sure on how we've managed to get 10 fucking movies in this franchise, as from what we've seen in this film so far, we're not getting much other than some lame traps and some backstory on the man himself. The audience has already fallen asleep. Alright, let's get back to the blood. So Rig keeps wandering around to different locations without calling for backup still, before stumbling upon the next test, between a husband and a wife who are impaled by multiple metal spikes. However, this woman is gonna be alright because her, this woman's gonna be alright, but her husband won't because he got hit in some lethal spots. But the wife didn't. If the spikes went through her and into her husband, then wouldn't that mean that she was hit in the exact same spots as him? Whatever. Strom and Perez continue on the Jigsaw hunt and come across Billy the puppet, and Perez gets struck in the face, unfortunately killing her. This pisses off Strom and we continue wasting time developing the character of a dead guy. Gotta learn his motives, I guess. It's here we find out that he was so sad about his cancer that he drove off a cliff to die, but ultimately survived. He says that this was his test, but I call bullshit on that. This sounds like something we would see a character do before being put in a trap, because they didn't appreciate their goddamn life. Seems like John didn't before he drove off a fucking cliff. We get to see John's actual first trap as well. This was made for a dude who killed Jill and John's unborn child. The guy actually makes it through, and I find it so funny how this dude just sounds like Adam Sandler.
You're fucking dead.
Yeah, I'm sure he's really appreciating his life right now. Back to Rig, he's almost made it to the very end. He's just gotta make it to Donnie and Hoffman in time. And I just find it crazy how throughout the whole film, Peter, Strom, and Perez were always appearing after each trap that had happened, all while interrogating Jill Tuck. And now Strom magically shows up at the exact location where Rig and the gang are somehow. Like, Strom pulled up at the exact same time. Rig has just been dicking around. Strom runs around when out of fucking nowhere, Jeff from the last film just pulls up unprovoked, right in the middle of this important climax. And now anyone in the theater that didn't see Saw 3 goes, who the fuck is that? Basically all Rig had to do is just not make it through the door before the timer goes off, or else that'll kill everyone in the room. Overcoming his obsession with going through doors? I don't know, man. And this fucking guy that's been walking around the whole time is actually the guy who had his mouth sewn shut at the start of the film. And he's got a trap on him as well. Well, was the first trap not good enough? Did he need to be tested once again just to make sure he appreciates his life more? But that's not all. This dude knows that if Rig goes through the door before the timer that they're all fucked. So why don't you just try to stop him? I don't know, maybe block the door right on the window saying, yo, wait like 5 minutes before coming in. But you know how Jeff just strolled in a few minutes ago? Turns out all of the events after the opening credits were all going on at the exact same time as Saw 3? What? How the fuck did Jigsaw set this all up all at once? And also knew he was going to die and that the detectives would find the tape in his stomach. What the fuck is going on? Strom pulls up to the Saw 3 set and shoots Jeff. Wow, such a sad loss of an interesting character.
Two people are placed on a fiendishly clever giant set of scales. One might be electrocuted by melting ice. The other one might have a massive cube of ice dropped on his head to kill him. Which film?
5.
Close, it was 4.
It was 4.
So yeah, Rig busts through the door, shoots that one guy, Hoffman gets electrocuted, and sadly, Donnie Wahlberger is no longer with us. Sure hoped you learned your lesson about not going through doors. All you had to do was wait like 1 second. But what's this? Hoffman's not dead? Well, it turns out he's also been working with Jigsaw this whole time. He was gagged on that chair the whole movie and we barely know him, but whatever. And he even gets to say the famous line.
Game over.
He also then just traps Peter Strom in the Saw 3 set. Hooray!
Saw 4, although thankfully better than Saw 3, still didn't do it for me. Spending most of its time just trying to make sense of why such a sweet old guy would kill so many people. Focusing so much about his past and it just doesn't really matter. I'm putting it at number 8. What the fuck are we gonna do now? Jigsaw's dead. How do they keep making these?
Halloween 2008 comes around and we finally get our answers about where the fuck this franchise is going. At least I hope so. Directed by David Hackle this time around, I guess everyone got sick of those stupid-ass transitions, so he's here to fix the franchise. What? This is the only one he directed? Fuck! By this point, the only reason anyone was interested in seeing these movies was based solely on what stupid twist they would come up with next. Even the fans knew it was just a clusterfuck by this point. Saw 5 begins in the classic Saw format we have seen develop by showing someone in a trap. And by this point, I'm getting sick of Jigsaw's shit. So this guy has to put his hands in a machine that'll crush his bones to dust or else he'll get cut in half. He actually makes the sacrifice, but gets chopped up anyway. Jigsaw, you fucking asshole. That doesn't line up with your morals. Well, I'm sure it'll all make sense later. And now we're back where we ended off. And for the past 3 movies, we've been in the same room, so what else could fucking happen here? So Strom finds Jigsaw's dead body and then a Goosebumps goo door, and Jesus! Jigsaw planned this too? What the fuck? This just confirms my suspicions that he just knew fucking everything was gonna happen. I wonder if there were any other rooms full of traps and tapes that just never got found. Like maybe there was a trap for Perez where they put her in a giant Pez dispenser. I don't know.
Hello, Agent Strom. But is the discovery of my body enough?
Dude, how much free time did this guy have?
Is there a supernatural side to the character?
So on Strom's tape, Jigsaw's like, hey, don't go snooping around here or you'll die. And Strom's like,
fuck you.
So he snoops around and... whatever. Now Strom's stuck in a trap.
A box is filled with water, locked on a man's head. It's filling with water. In order to stop himself drowning, he has to give himself a tracheotomy with a pen. Which film?
Dude, you're asking. Is the point of this is to show that I have no clue about the whole series?
It's to see if you're desensitized to the violence. I'll give you one more.
It sounds like pigs squealing. Huh? Huh? Get me the heck out of here.
So Hoffman walks away alive and saves Jeff's daughter, who is now an orphan thanks to him. But oh shit! Strahm managed to survive his test. And just in case we forgot Hoffman was the new Jigsaw, we get this silly transition.
Whoa, that transition was sick. That was so good.
I know Martin Scorsese was just like, this is cinema.
So, Jigsaw's wife goes to this building to retrieve his will and some belongings he left to her. She gets this mysterious box that we certainly won't be seeing for the next 2 films.
He should have done an outro like, thanks for watching.
Peace out, guys.
I'll see you guys in the next trap. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Saw traps.
Hoffman gets promoted in the police and gets an anonymous note saying, "I know who you are." Everyone's praising Hoffman, but Strahm is the only one to actually question why Hoffman's still alive. And then this guy walks in and it's like, "Yo, Strahm, you're off the case, bud."
Who the fuck is this guy now?
That's Tom Cruise.
What?
Others, you're off the case.
On whose orders?
Mine.
Oh!
Hoffman gets back to work torturing people and looks at his new game because he's Jigsaw now. Gotta continue his legacy even though it's not clear what his motives are.
Well, I like scrambled eggs with a little bit of toast, or oatmeal is very good for you. If I'm in training in the morning, oatmeal. You know what I mean?
In his trap rests 5 people. I get it. Saw 5 people in a trap. We gotta up the stakes. This shit's getting serious. So these 5 people are all attached to a machine by their necks and they have to make it across the room to get a key to free themselves, but they can only go one at a time. But even the first people who manage to get a key struggle to even unlock themselves so they can have this dramatic moment of all of them getting out at the same time. Oops. Meanwhile, Strahm is sussy on Hoffman and so he does some digging, and constantly talks to himself out loud just in case the audience doesn't understand. Then, uh-oh. Turns out it was Hoffman that killed the guy in the opening trap, and this dude killed Hoffman's sister.
You killed him. Made it look like a jigsaw trap.
Thanks, Strahm. I didn't already put that together in my head. So now that there's 4 left in the trap, they come across the next stage, which is to find keys in the jars above them. The keys are for 3 different crawl spaces to avoid the explosion when the nail bombs go off. The gang gets into a little feud over the keys, but the asshole internet journalist doesn't make it. But what's so funny is that these spaces are so fucking large that you could at least fit 2 or more people into each of them. Too bad you're dead.
Well, someone had to die.
Sure. Back to Hoffman, that note must have really shaken him up because everything's scaring the shit out of him. Yeah, so this woman just doesn't give a shit about this stranger pulling a gun on you and your dog. Whatever.
Do you mind?
Holy shit! So Hoffman goes into the elevator with Jigsaw. Huh? So this whole scene takes place before he got the note and before Saw 3? Even though he has the same clothes on from the previous scene, I guess it just doesn't matter. Jigsaw knocks him out and puts him in a trap. Once again, confirming that Jigsaw just knows how everything is gonna play out. What if Hoffman took the stairs instead? So if you're fucking confused like I am, this scene is supposed to take place after the opening sequence, but also before the events of Saw 1. Way before the bathroom trap, and way before even the flashbacks in Saw 1. Why can't we just move forward with the series? It always has to trail back somehow. So, Jigsaw's pretty pissed that Hoffman replicated his work. So understandably, he just straps a shotgun to his face and tells him to pull the trigger. But he's also hiring him and asking him just to kill a bunch of people with him, and Hoffman's like, okay, Mr. Puzzle Piece.
Killing is distasteful.
Can we just stop fucking pretending that Jigsaw has morals? It makes no sense. Jigsaw is literally just an old head hypocrite. Literally by putting anyone in these situations, you're basically just setting them up to die. I mean, you already know what the outcome is going to be anyway. Even the filmmakers don't see him as a killer.
I think it is like the dichotomy of good versus evil. You know, he does these evil things, but yet his heart is really good.
So yeah, after this, Hoffman just helps Jigsaw throughout the whole events of the first 3 movies. Like in these flashback scenes in Saw 3 when Amanda and John are setting up for the first movie, if you just move the camera to the right a few feet, you might just see Hoffman chilling and eating a sandwich. Who the fuck cares who's been helping Jigsaw from the start? Each of these twists just feel like a payoff to something with no setup. Like in Saw 11, it's gonna reveal that you, the audience, were helping Jigsaw the whole time. Hey, that's a pretty good idea. Universal, I got a new ride idea for you. Back to the trio in the trap, they have to absorb a shock to open the door. But the amount they would have to take would be lethal, so the 2 of them just put this woman in there and move on. Strom keeps fucking around and talking to himself.
We were all supposed to die.
Yup, we already knew that, Peter. And then we get back to the last 2 in the trap who are at their final test. But then they discover that every person in the trap could have survived, and they just needed to work together. That's the twist. Wow. And maybe the twist would have been cool if they just didn't make it so fucking obvious in the second trap. Too bad the journalist was the first one to get the key and he just spent the whole fucking time trying to get it off. But now these 2 are fucked because they need to fill up a beaker with 10 pints of blood and 5 pints from each of them, setting them both up to die. Well, you know, maybe you could have just pissed in the jar, but that works too. And they both make it out, somehow, and Strom tracks down where Hoffman is, wandering upon a trap. But apparently this trap's for him.
Hello, Agent Strom. If you are hearing this, then you have once again found what you are looking for.
So did Hoffman just whip up this trap mere days after Strom escaped his first trap? I mean, he's gotta be building these traps by himself now, right? This dude's a cop, not a mechanic. How the fuck does he know how to do that? I mean, he's been following around Jigsaw from the start, but it's not like he can just learn this shit by peeking over Jigsaw's shoulder. I guess it's easy because Hoffman was imitating and building crazy complicated traps before he even met John Kramer. Whatever. So Strom gets the jump on Hoffman and pushes him into this glass box. Strom could have just ran out of there right then and there with the tape, and he had all the evidence he needed to lock him up, but the door's locked and Strom's trapped.
However, if you choose not to, you will never be heard from again. Your body will never be found. You will simply vanish.
Also, did Hoffman know Strom was just gonna throw him in the box, or did that just work out well at his convenience? And Hoffman even set it up throughout this whole movie that Strom would get framed for all these murders. And he wasn't even trapped in this room before Hoffman just strolled in. He could have just left. Oh well. So the walls start to close in on Strom as Hoffman rests safe in this box, and he gets squashed like a bug. The end.
But where does it rest within our ranking? I feel like this one's a lot more entertaining than the previous 2. I mean, we still get a bunch of bullshit backstory for over half of it, but Hoffman's a pretty fun character. Thankfully, he ain't dead, so we're gonna be seeing a lot more of him. I don't wanna move around my older rankings, so I think I'm just gonna be placing it in spot number 6. You know what? Just for the sake of making this interesting, I'm gonna be moving every movie below Saw 1 up 1. Oh shit. Just so we have some more wiggle room later on. On to Saw 6.
It's Halloween 2009, and once again, Saw's hitting the big screen for the 6th year in a row. And this time around, they decided to bring in another new director, Mr. Kevin Guert. Who was actually the editor for the last 5 films, and also edited the future Jigsaw and Saw X entries. He is essentially the reason why those movies are so impactful. So what does he have in store for us now that he's in the director's chair? Spoiler, he actually does a great job. It just sucks that this one had the lowest box office numbers so far, and I mean, it's still ranked in quite a bit, but it's the only Saw film in the original franchise not to break 100 million. No thanks to Paranormal Activity, which released the exact same weekend as Saw 6. People found something new to watch on Halloween rather than just the same old Saw shtick. But let's see what you got, Kevin. Saw 6 opens with a trap scene. What a shocker. And this one is actually one of my favorite openings in the series. I mean, it's still goofy as fuck and there are ways to avoid this trap, but I think the editing in this one is great even though it's not done by Kevin. Basically, these two have to cut off a pound of flesh and throw it onto the scale, and whoever wins doesn't get a drill into their skull. You know what I would do? I would just throw my clothes in there and piss in it again. Take that, Jigsaw. This part of the scene is also just fucking crazy. We then get a full recap on the last Saw film like it's an episode of Dragon Ball. just because it was so fucking confusing. We then go to a brand new location at Umbrella Health. Strangely, out of all of these films, this one is oddly political, but it's a Saw film. It feels so fucking forced.
I paid my monthly premium for 10 years without so much as a cold. And now that I'm actually sick, you're gonna deny my coverage? I have a family!
Those are the rules, Harold.
What's more scary than not having healthcare? After that, we regroup with Hoffman, who's just chilling, eating a sandwich and listening to the First Trap's audio. Does he get off on this shit? He leaves and goes to the crime scene where they find a jigsaw piece cut out from the fat guy. And it turns out Perez is still alive. Holy shit. I was really sure that those shards of glass in her face really killed her. But now Hoffman's shaking in his boots because Perez was the closest one to Strom, and shit just ain't added up to her. Hoffman goes to the hospital to talk with one of his victims, and he just kind of starts trolling her.
He wanted us to learn.
And did you?
Look at me. Look at my goddamn arm!
Baby jump scare. We check in with Jill Tuck, who's been watching old tapes, eating hot chip, lying, and drinking wine. She keeps looking at these damn folders with numbers on them that haven't been explained at all until now. And to the surprise of no one, it turns out Jill has also been helping Jigsaw out from the very beginning. Why do you keep doing this to us? And in his will is a bunch of new victims to finish this game after he's dead. She brings the folders to Hoffman and he's like, nah, I want to do this myself. The stink of blood make me horny. All the detectives group up in the autopsy lab where they find out that the jigsaw piece was cut very poorly and also with a different knife. Hoffman's practically shitting his pants by this point because the other cops tell him that the same cut that was left on the fat guy was also identical to the guy that died at the start of Saw 5. And now they're looking into that tape to uncover Strom's voice from it. Oh shit. And now we are so back. What? And now we're back to this dude named William in his office. He sees someone outside with a gun and shoots him, but it's just this fucking security guard. And then he gets jump scared by someone in a pig mask. Where the fuck did they come from? Did they sneak in while he was helping the security guard? He probably would have heard him. And I know that dude wasn't waiting in the corner to get him because you would be able to see him. He just appeared out of thin air. But that's the least of William's concerns because now he's in a goddamn jigsaw trap. And with his janitor, Randy. But what about Randy? Why the fuck is he here?
This man has continued to smoke even though he has a history of high blood pressure and heart disease.
Oh, okay. Randy's a smoker. Jigsaw's killing smokers now. Why did Jigsaw pick fucking Randy in particular? And we see that Jigsaw recorded these tapes himself, so what if he quit his janitor job and moved far away? Would they have tracked him down to put him in the trap? Jigsaw made these forever ago. It's not like he just whipped them up yesterday. Anyway, so they are both put in a breath holding competition, and whoever takes the most breaths gets crushed to death. And the smoker dies. No shit. You put a perfectly healthy dude against a smoker in a breathing competition. Where was his chance at redemption? We then cut to a son and mother trapped in a room, presumably in the same trap that Will is in. We assume as well that this is William's wife and his son, Roderick, because the mom's like,
We're here because of your father.
So William notices the words, "the party," written on his arm, and this sends him into a flashback where John Kramer just keeps fucking with William.
Who devised that formula?
Me.
So in a sense, you choose who lives or dies.
And now he's got to choose who lives and dies.
A middle-aged woman with a family history of diabetes. But you know the loss that she will be to her family, while young Alan will disappear without a blip on the world's radar.
John? I thought we were long past killing depressed people whose personality traits are being depressed. So Will kills the depressed guy because the older woman actually had a family member. Where was his chance at redemption? I thought killing was distasteful. Yeah, he just didn't beg hard enough. Will moves on and the old lady is just left up there. Yeah, I'm sure she'll find a way to get down. No time to think about that because we have a long fucking flashback to sit through. The only reason this scene exists is just to show more of Amanda and John and Hoffman all in the same room because, you know,
They were all working together from the start. Then Jill pulls up and John's like gives her the key that she used to unlock the box. Wow. We were all really confused about who gave her that key in the first place. Despite these bullshit scenes, it's moments like the next scene that really do it for me. Now William comes face to face with 6 more of his Umbrella employees. Cause it's Saw 6, get it? So 6 employees are put on this carousel of death with a shotgun that will fire 6 bullets as they go around. And I'll admit it, this scene is so fucking fun. William can only save them by fucking up his hands each time raising the shotgun in the air so they avoid the blast. William just knows that by saving one, he's basically lowering the odds of survival for the rest of them. It's truly one of the darkest moments in this series because we have a lot of time in this to flesh out these characters we don't even know before they meet their fate.
No, she's not. She's lying. She fucking lying. She's lying. Mr. Eason, she is lying. She's lying. No, she's lying.
By the last attempt, William doesn't even look at who's next because it shows he just doesn't want to live with the consequences anymore. And it actually gets pretty sad by the end of it.
Oh, fuck! Oh, well, that's it, isn't it? It's over! Look at me! When you're killing me, you look at me!
We also get a flashback with John and Will that at least sets up some more motives as to why Will's in the whole trap in the first place. Will basically is just rejecting coverage on John's cancer recovery.
And their patients, or by the government. Made by the fucking insurance companies. Piranha.
John.
In the next scene, Perez, Erickson, and Hoffman are waiting patiently for the results of Strom's voice on that tape to come in. And Hoffman's shaking in his boots. The other 2 detectives are right on his ass for finding out it's him. And it's almost like the other 2 detectives just know it's him and start intimidating him, suggesting how it doesn't make sense why Strom would commit these recent murders. Apparently, Perez and Erickson found out that the fingerprints he left were after he was already dead.
Hear that?
Right now, you're feeling helpless.
We're getting there.
Whoa. Is this symbolism? I'm supposed to be enjoying these ironically, not literally. Was it chosen to accurately depict how Hoffman's feeling in this very moment?
There it is.
Right now, you're feeling helpless.
Okay, I hope you all agree that this is by far the most entertaining one in the series. Hoffman's such a badass and he absolutely murks everyone in this room and just destroys all the evidence. But now it's time for another twist. When Amanda killed Jeff's wife, Lynn, the surgeon from Saw 3, she only killed her not because she wanted to, but because she was blackmailed by Hoffman. Okay. Because somehow Hoffman knew that she was there with the guy in the first trap, who was also Amanda's ex-boyfriend, and he went to the hospital and accidentally killed Jigsaw's unborn child. It's all connected, okay? So Hoffman just knew this information and Jigsaw's wife is pissed off. So she goes, zap zap, fuck you. But wait, there's more. That's not the only twist. Turns out the mother and son that were in the trap actually aren't Will's wife and kid. It was the guy that he didn't give coverage to who died. Oh, I get it. When they said, we're here because of your father, it's because... Wait, I don't get it. What reason would they have to believe that it was this guy's fault that they were in the room? Did he do some shady shit in the past? I don't really know, and it doesn't matter if you're just saying it to mislead the audience. His real girlfriend is on the other end, who gets to watch for free. Now the mother and Roderick have to decide whether he lives or dies.
It's not my game.
So if it wasn't his game and it was theirs all along, that doesn't really make sense. Doesn't Jigsaw put people in games if they don't appreciate their lives? Were this mother and Roderick not appreciating their lives? And they decide that he's going to pay for what he did, but the mom couldn't bring herself to do it.
You killed my father, you motherfucker!
Hell yeah, Roderick rules. But does this mean that they also failed their test of forgiveness? Like, it's basically the same rules as in Saw 3 with Jeff, but that doesn't really matter here because they don't really face any consequences for not passing the test. Unless killing him was them passing the test. Was there even a test? Well, too bad because Hoffman's fucked because Jill wants to avenge Amanda. John Kramer also told Jill to do this in his will because technically Hoffman hasn't had his test yet. But he also wrote this into his will before he knew Amanda would die. So did he just know that Hoffman was blackmailing Amanda? Then why did he just let her kill Lynn? It doesn't really matter, I guess.
Game over.
Okay, so Hoffman makes it out of the trap and he screams and his mouth is all fucked up, and then the movie ends. Hooray.
Saw 6, despite being extremely fucking confusing towards the end, manages to be one of the best. Not only in terms of traps, but scenes like Hoffman getting busted are just a blast to watch. Kevin Gruert did a fucking excellent job in directing a Saw film, probably because there's no one else out there who knows this franchise better than him. I mean, he sat down for hundreds of hours editing the last 5 films, so for that, I give him a thumbs up for making the 6th film in a goddamn franchise one of the best ones. I'm gonna be moving Saw 6 into spot number 3. It's honestly just so much better than Saw 2, and isn't held back by the mystery anymore. So now we're actually moving the fuck on with the series. Roll the next one.
On October 29th, the most frightening 3D motion picture event is here.
Saw 3D, also known as Saw the Final Chapter, promises to conclude the franchise with a bang.
I'm pretty sure they've wrapped it up. From what I hear, it is more than enough.
I saw the film 2 days ago. It's very graphic, and in 3D, it's pretty intense.
Directed by Kevin Gruert. Once again, we now have 2 crazy additions to this film. For one, now it's in 3D, which was a hugely popular gimmick back in 2010, and now Dr. Gordon's back. We finally get to see what happened to him at the end of Saw 1.
What's been one of the traps from the past that's gotten you? It's really been gotten you.
All the traps are very interesting and innovative, you know?
He was suing the franchise a few years ago, but now he's back on the Saw train, baby. And we already know he doesn't give a shit about this franchise, but I think he started to realize that people only really know him from The Princess Bride and Saw.
Something I'm sure you love talking about all the time, which is sword fighting. Your sword fighting abilities in The Princess Bride, to me, it changed my life growing up.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, I wanted to be a swordsmith. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, I should probably do the next one. So here comes Gordy. But unfortunately, with the release of Saw 3D, also came with some tragedy for some families.
This is the movie parents took their children to see Saturday afternoon. And this is what they saw instead. The children, around 7 years old, were celebrating a friend's birthday at Showcase Cinemas in Revere. Parents say when the preview started, so did their concerns. The coming attractions had no cartoons.
It's just mind-blowing that was allowed to go on.
I figured this was a funny spot to put this. I actually saw Megamind in theaters growing up around this time, and if this happened to me, I would probably be traumatized as if I wasn't already from the kind of shit I was watching on YouTube. How the fuck did this happen? Anyway, back to Saw. This one around made significantly more than Saw 6, ranking in about $133 million at the box office. So how did they wrap it all up? Well, now we get to find out what happened to Dr. Gordon. Or at least we see a few minutes of what happened after the end of the first movie. I'm sure the kids in the Megamind theater loved this. Well, you can't have a Saw film without an opening trap, so that's exactly what we get. Basically, these 3 are in a love triangle, and it's just the alternate ending of Challengers. So this girl apparently manipulated them both at different times to do something illegal for her. They don't explain what it is or anything, but it doesn't really matter. Basically, one of these guys has to push the saw over to the other guy and kill him, or they both keep it in the middle for the girl. And the end result is pretty satisfying and fucking hilarious.
Man, she's not worth it. Right. Yeah.
What are you doing, you fucking asshole?
I think we're breaking up with you, Tina.
That's fucking hilarious. I wonder if the kids in the theater made it this far. Also, how the fuck was this whole thing set up, and for what reason? Who the fuck are these people and who set this trap up? Did Hoffman just say, yeah, I'm gonna take some downtime away from Jill and the gang and just quickly set up this 3D trap real quick in broad daylight? And for some reason, the blood in this film looks absolutely terrible. I don't know if it was just because they filmed this in 3D, but it almost looks fucking purple. And now we get to figure out what happened to Hoffman after escaping that trap at the end of the 6th one. Jill realizes she's got to get the fuck out of there and goes for a nice slow jog. Hoffman comes around the corner like a video game boss while Jill makes a really convincing scared face. Hoffman doesn't find her somehow and then stitches up his face. Meanwhile, Jill tells the police that Hoffman's the one killing everyone while Hoffman starts burning all of his identification. Yeah, you gotta make sure you show the camera each thing you're burning so we can understand. But this transitions us into the meat of the story where we meet Bobby, our main victim for Hoffman's final twisted game. So Bobby's on a talk show for his new book, which is about how he survived one of Jigsaw's games, and although they don't reveal it yet, you can kind of tell he's already lying.
And I had to insert 2 hooks into my pectoral muscles and hoist myself up to a platform.
You put the hooks in yourself?
I did.
These past 5 films have all taken place back to back, so it's not like his game just happened in between 2 of these films. But yeah, it's painfully obvious even though they haven't revealed it yet. Whatever. Oh shit! Jigsaw's wife gets kidnapped and put in a trap. And it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for.
You wanna know the only thing wrong with killing you, Jill? I can only do it once.
God damn it.
It was all a dream!
No time to care about that because they're hitting us with another trap already. That is made for who again exactly?
You, your girlfriend, and your friends are all racist.
Hell yeah, Jigsaw. Wait, is that the fucking lead singer of Linkin Park?
And instantly, you know, the reaction was, "Oh, really? Cool. Like, do you think he'd want to be in one of the movies?" And, you know, the obvious answer is yes.
That's cool. It's funny how much he outdoes one of the main fucking characters in terms of acting. So anyway, Chester is super glued to the seat and he has to reach up on the dashboard to pull a lever before the time runs out. If he fails, then this woman gets squashed by a tire, this dude gets his arms and jaw ripped off, and this guy just gets hit by a car. Sick. But he fails and now we get to see what I just described. So it turns out that Bobby has set up a whole Jigsaw support group and is counseling people. You know, you would think the CIA would get involved by this point if they have to make their own survivor support group for this guy. But now's our chance to regroup with some familiar faces like this woman from the start of Saw 6, that one guy from Saw 5 who somehow survived, and that old woman who somehow made it down from however high she was. Anyway, Bobby starts preaching and then Dr. Gordon emerges from the darkness and decides he's gonna start talking like a weirdo.
How grateful we are to be part of your promotional DVD.
Gordy's acting oddly suspicious. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just gonna walk back to my car alone in the dark. Ah, shit. I guess Bobby didn't really see the first 6 films after all. Well, now he's in a trap, so I guess we gotta explain some shit now.
Joyce? No! Joyce!
So, even though she was innocent and had nothing to do with Bobby's scam, hell, she didn't even know he was lying, and now she's in a trap. That's fucked up. Was she a smoker too? So why the fuck is she there? So yeah, Bobby's Jigsaw trap story is revealed to be all a scam. No shit. Was there ever a crime scene? Nope. Was there any investigation? Nope. Was there any evidence whatsoever to fool people that he was telling the truth?
Nope.
Well, if you count his stupid makeup scars, then sure, but how the fuck did they let this dude publish a book and go on talk shows without any previous evidence of the entire story? How did you pull this off? Okay, but now he's fucked. Meanwhile, this schmo gets Jigsaw's wife to a safe house.
It's a safe house. Safe house. Safe house. You get it?
Gibson, this was sent here addressed to Jill. Hoffman knows our location.
You cannot make this shit up. The comedic timing in this franchise is fucking gold. You idiot. So on the tape, Hoffman's basically just like, I want Jill Tuck, gimme, and no one else dies. Okay, so every game in this film is made by Hoffman, right? In the last one, John Kramer had this elaborate final game and that was supposed to be it. Hoffman was supposed to die and then it all would have been over. So why the fuck did Hoffman have to make this elaborate game to use as leverage to try and kill Jill? Why can't he just hold some people hostage? Jigsaw wanted him dead by this point, so why is he still continuing his legacy? No time to think about that because Bobby has a new trap to complete. He has to get a fish hook out of his publicist's stomach to get a key and free her. If she makes any noise, then these spikes will move closer and stab her neck. But Bobby fails. Probably because, you know, she was getting fish hooked by her insides. You know when you're eating chips and the chips aren't fully chewed and the pointy edge of the chip just scratches your throat as it goes down? This is probably what that felt like. It's flashback time again, and just like the last one, John intimidates the fuck out of this guy. Wait, so does that mean that Hoffman didn't set up this trap? I thought the last one was your going away party, so where was this guy in the envelopes? And whoa mama, Marvel has spent a shit ton of money with de-aging CGI when all you could have done was just thrown a backwards hat on them. Gee, Jigsaw, I didn't know you were drippy like that. As per usual, Jigsaw just fucks with this guy and asks for an autograph, and then it shows up in the next trap. Another character dies in a lame trap we don't give a shit about. It probably looked cool in 3D. Hoffman sends another DVD, and then the cops try to find out the location of where he's been filming these videos. More time is wasted, and Bobby just has to pull out his teeth to get a combination for a lock. And it looks like the cops are actually right behind him, but then he moves on to the final trap. Jigsaw, or Hoffman, you clever bitch. He has to complete the very trap he claimed to survive in his book. He has to pierce hooks into his pecs and hoist himself up to connect a cord and save his wife. Oops. Turns out he couldn't really do it. But really, what was stopping him from just standing on the hooks and hoisting himself up that way? It's not like Hoffman's watching this game unfold right now. He's busy busting into the safe house and getting Jill. So what if he cheated? It wouldn't have been detected. But that's too bad, and his innocent wife fucking dies. Meanwhile, Hoffman goes on an insane killing spree.
Shut up, clock in, and load up.
And now he's caught up to Jill, and finally, after we've seen two people escape the reverse bear trap, it's become one of the most iconic traps in the series, and we finally get to see it in action. And in 3D. So, where the fuck did Dr. Gordon go? After Jill dies, Hoffman destroys all the evidence of John Kramer's work, including Billy. No. And then he walks out of the exploding building where... Oh, it's Dr. Gordon. So, turns out he's also been helping Jigsaw from the start. What the fuck? How many times can you keep reusing the same damn twist? So he's been helping him out since after Saw 1. But why? Didn't he have a family? I guess that's how all these insane surgeries were possible, but it still doesn't make sense. Why didn't Strom and Perez go out to question him for help in films 4 through 5, considering he made it out? Did no one just question where he got this prosthetic leg from? How the fuck did John Kramer get it? How the fuck does John Kramer know how to tend his wounds? Did Hoffman not know that Dr. Gordon was helping the whole time? Who the fuck are these other two? So did Dr. Gordon help set up this trap in the film? Was it only set up by him and not Hoffman, and Hoffman just didn't know these traps were even going on? So he just kidnapped all these people by himself and made the whole thing by himself without the help of whoever these people are? What the fuck is happening? I don't get it.
Game over.
Well, they had a good run in the 2000s, but Paranormal Activity just kept beating them at the box office. And Saw fans were left with just more questions than answers, probably wishing they saw Paranormal Activity rather than Saw 3D on Halloween. Even though it made money worldwide, Paranormal Activity 2 put the nail in the coffin for this franchise.
I think that when you enjoy something and the people that you do it with, it's a bittersweet ending. But hopefully the impact of the movie will leave its mark with the people that have stuck by it all these years.
It's going to go out with a bang, so I'm happier that we're going out on top rather than kind of letting it die a slow death.
This is the end of the Saw series with Saw 3D. We really wanted to go out with a bang. I think we've told the story and done a great job wrapping it all up.
Deep down in our hearts, producers, writers, everything, they don't want it to end. So why don't you guys show up, kick the shit out of Paranormal Activity and everybody else around at the time, and let's make another one.
Saw 3D basically just leaves this franchise on a sour note. And before making this video, I always thought that this was the worst one. But Hoffman killing a bunch of people, the stupid cameos, and that goddamn terrible twist with Dr. Gordon actually made this enjoyable. So quite honestly, I don't think it's the worst in the series. The worst, I feel like, is Saw 3. Saw 3 is such a hard watch, it's so painfully slow, and that's why I'm gonna be putting Saw 3D at number 9 and moving Saw 3 to the bottom of our list. Jesus Christ, that was a lot, but this video's not over yet. I feel like this is a good point to take a breather from talking about these movies and briefly mention the original franchise's physical releases.
Saw 3 on DVD and Blu-ray disc January 23rd.
I haven't seen anything yet.
Because to me, there's nothing else like them. And they fully embraced the reputation of being just full-on gore fests with their covers and presentation. Seeing them at Walmart and Family Video back in 2006 and 2009, I would see them and quickly look away like it was something I wasn't supposed to see. These specific clear cases with the disc art bleeding through make these some of the most interesting and kind of cool physical releases I've ever seen. And I feel like that's why these films are so interesting to me today. Just because of how much impression they left on me as a kid. Sadly, I don't own any of these, I only have these versions, but I feel like these would be such a cool addition to my ever-growing collection. Would have been cooler if the newer films continued this tradition, but whatever. Anyway, that's my short intermission. Y'all comfy? Alright, let's get back to it.
Jessica said the right phrase. She said, no, this is too scary, Tobin.
After a 7-year hiatus, the franchise returned in 2017 with Jigsaw. This time around, they had 2 directors, Michael and Peter Spearing. Now, what this film does is they obviously wanted to distance itself far enough from the original 7 films, so just about anyone who wanted to see a scary film on Halloween with a basic understanding of what a Saw film is, can easily go and see this without watching the originals. For the sake of writing this script, I'm glad so I can finally get a fucking break from typing out the words Hoffman, Amanda, and Gordon so much. But unfortunately, we're not gonna be getting a whole lot of crazy shit that confuses the timeline. At least not until the way this film ends. We'll get to that eventually. But let's see how they managed to revive a franchise while taking a new spin on it. And while each past film wore the number of the series like a badge of honor, now Saw 8 is just Jigsaw. Which is funny, as his goofy ass is barely in it.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
Alright, so the movie opens up with an action scene? Did I buy the wrong movie? Nope, this is definitely the right movie. So we open up this horror movie with the police chasing after this dude named Edgar, who catches him on a rooftop. Edgar grabs a switch and demands to speak with Detective Halloran. And we have a whole new cast now as well. Detective Halloran and Detective Hunt arrive onto the scene, and it seems like Halloran and this dude Edgar have a past as well. But he pulls the trigger on the device and the cops blow his hand the fuck up, starting the new game. The first trap opens with 5 people who have to give an offering of blood. One by one, they get a quick cut from the wall and then they're freed to move on to the next segment, but uh-oh. One person is asleep and fails to make it through. It seems like almost the same thing happened to this woman, so wouldn't he have just gone through the door as well? He made a blood offering. But whatever. Now they're moving further into the barn trap. Here we get a chance to learn their names. Anna, Mitch, Ryan, and Carly. But then we cut to this woman going for a jog and oh my god. There's the body from the first part of the trap. Whoever's doing this trap, how the fuck did they move that person's body from the trap and then bring his body out in broad daylight to a populated area and then just hang this dude up from a bridge? There's no fucking way. That's so stupid. Now we get to meet more characters in this film. Hooray. This is Logan, and he's a forensic pathologist. Okay, he's the guy that does the autopsies. So he's brought in, and they look at Buckethead here. They find a jigsaw piece cut out from his neck, and then somehow realize there's a flash drive in his neck.
The games have begun again.
Oh my god, it's John Kramer. He's totally still alive. Holy shit. The 4 in the trap see Billy and are told to confess, but they all just keep saying stuff that isn't really a confession. Mitch grabs the tape and oh shit, now they're gonna hang. Mitch plays the tape and now we get our first test coming from Carly, but her actions also have consequences for the other 3. Okay, so she stole someone's purse, and that person really needed their inhaler, but she just ran away, and now that person's dead. How was Jigsaw aware of this if it fucking wasn't something the law enforcement was aware of either? It's not like he was just hanging around when this happened. But that's too bad. She has to pick an antidote to cure the poison in her. Yeah, Jigsaw, you sure aren't a murderer, but you did poison this chick. So she doesn't pick in time, so Ryan just sticks them all in her. Oops. They move on to the next room, and Ryan's like, I'm gonna use the door that says no exit. And he falls through the floor, and wires tighten around his leg. Mitch reaches in and grabs a tape, and we get the most basic trap explanation ever.
Pull the handle, and you will be set free.
Well, I guess that's all you gotta do. How the fuck did Jigsaw just know Ryan was gonna walk into that exact fucking spot and fall through the floor? Whatever. Now Halloran and Logan gotta go to the scene of another crime, and oh wow, it's Carly. Again, how the fuck did you pull this bitch out so quickly and then just throw her body somewhere for the police to find it? It makes no sense.
The depletion of adenosine triphosphate in the muscle fibers, rigor mortis.
Rick and Morty?
So the gang just hangs out for a while until a door opens up, and then like the dumbasses they are, both Mitch and Anna go into this small little area. Oh, it's not like it's gonna be a trap or anything. Oh shit. So some flat screens turn on and oh fuck, it's Billy again.
There is, however, one person who can help you. Ryan, if he pulls the lever before you're buried alive, you will live.
Again, how the fuck did Jigsaw just know Ryan was gonna be the one to fall through that hole in that exact spot? But yeah, the area with Mitch and Anna starts getting filled with grain, and Mitch has to pull the lever that will cut his leg to save them. But we don't give a shit about that, because we gotta interrupt this scene to find out that the blood on the dead bodies was John Kramer's blood. Okay, thanks. Going back to what actually matters, Ryan actually pulls the lever. So, what if he pulled the lever before they went in there? Would this trap have just been avoided? What if they just never walked in there? It was their choice, I guess. Fucking dumbass. Now, for some reason, Halloran thinks that this chick and Logan are involved somehow with these recent killings. And uh-oh, someone's poisoning Edgar while he's asleep in the hospital. Well, back to the trio in the trap. Ryan's still alive, but he won't shut the fuck up. Uh-oh, it's Mitch's turn again. So, who exactly was the last trap for again? Was it just for Anna? I don't know. And I guess I don't really give a shit either. So basically what Mitch did is he sold a bike with broken brakes to Jigsaw's nephew. What a coincidence. And so now he has to reach through this spiral trap and grab the brakes. Oh no. Halloran and Keith are now digging up John Kramer's grave because he's been dead for 10 years. How the fuck has he been killing all these new people? Oh my god, it's Edgar. Why the fuck would anyone trying to replicate Jigsaw's traps give a shit about Edgar, but also give enough of a shit to dig up John Kramer's grave before they planned on digging it up, and then putting Edgar in there and then filling the 6 feet of dirt back into the grave? Why do you fucking care? So now Logan thinks that these killings are being done by Halloran because, I don't know, he's been really mean this whole movie. So Anna's officially over it and managed to make it out of the barn. Ah, fuck. Who the fuck was just sitting outside the barn waiting for them to escape somehow? No time to think about that because, oh my god, Jigsaw's alive.
Unless it's Kramer himself, but I don't understand how that would work. now I'm just confused.
They should have put a snapback on him to de-age him.
Anna knows who he is, but Ryan doesn't seem to know who the fuck John Kramer is. So it turns out the reason why Ryan is here is because he was a drunken asshole as a kid and tries to stand up in the back of a convertible, and his friends are like, sit the fuck down, and then he falls out and he's perfectly fine, but his friends hit into another car and die. And Ryan lied to the authorities trying to pretend that it was his friend's fault who was driving. How the fuck does Jigsaw know this? And And now it turns out that Anna was also Jigsaw's next door neighbor, and she smothered her own child and made it look like her husband did it. How the fuck did you know that? Can you differentiate the sounds of a muffled scream by a pillow and not a man rolling over on top of it? Also, earlier, why wasn't she like, hey, that kind of sounds like my neighbor on the tape? So Jigsaw just gives them a shotgun with 1 bullet and leaves.
I don't get it.
Game over.
And it's like, I have to kill you to win, but oops, turns out their keys were in the bullet. Oh, that's too bad. Whoa, now Halloran and Logan are in a new trap, and now they have to confess to what they did wrong in their lives. It's kind of lame. Logan fails and dies, and now it's Halloran's turn, and he actually succeeds, but then he notices that there are burn marks above him, and not on Logan's side. Huh? Oh well. I guess Logan's alive.
You're working with him.
I am him.
What?
So it turns out Logan has been the one doing all these recent murders. But why? Because he was the one in the opening who died in the first room, but he didn't actually die because Jigsaw just came in and tended his wounds. Sure, okay. But it turns out that this trap that we were seeing the whole movie actually happened before Saw 1. And this trap was never found, and it all took place at John's wife's barn. What the fuck? So, why the fuck were there flat screens all around this trap? Yeah guys, this is supposed to be the early 2000s, so how the fuck are there flat screens? It fooled the audience, so whatever. But now we find out that Logan has also been helping. Are we seriously doing this again? Why? He is framing Halloran for these recent murders, the recent murders that were not actually Jigsaw murders, but they were framed in a way to look identical to the deaths in Jigsaw's game that no one even knew happened. But we also find out that the only reason that these replicated murders were done were to frame him. What did you have to swap out John Kramer's corpse for? What the fuck was even the point of any of this? The writers go with the old, my wife is dead and you kinda had something to do with it, so I have to get revenge kinda thing. But if the whole point was just to frame Halloran for murder, and then kill him, then why did you need it to be Jigsaw related at all? Were you just living on his legacy after this whole thing has been done and over with for nearly a decade? Why not just casually kill some people and frame him? It would just be so much easier, but no, Logan actually put a bunch of the same people that kinda looked similar in the exact same traps and situations. How the fuck did they wind up ending the exact same way? Why did you need to bring in this corpse that supposedly died at the start of the trap? Did this guy just not wake up in time too? I just don't understand why you had to make it so fucking complicated. And if you're trying to frame him for murder, then why did you put him in a trap? Isn't it going to look a little suspicious that his head bloomed like a fucking flower? And that he was very clearly in a trap that someone else forced him to be in? What even was your plan? So yeah, Logan says the classic line.
I speak for the dead.
What the fuck does that mean? You're not even gonna make him say game over? Fuck this movie.
Okay. Jigsaw, in my opinion, was at least well shot. Jigsaw, in my opinion, was at least a little more well shot than the other Saw films, but it wasn't anything amazing. At least this film looks nice, but God, is that fucking writing just horrible. The characters in Jigsaw are just so bland and one-dimensional, but they were much more watchable than any other characters in this franchise so far. There's nothing in this that really pushed the boundaries in terms of clever trap making. In fact, it kind of felt like they pussied out half the time. This is definitely the lamest traps we've seen so far, and when compared to the other Saw films, it just seems so much more family friendly. It's watchable, but if you want to watch a Saw movie, this is not what you're looking for. So with that, I'm putting Jigsaw just above Saw 3D. I would rather watch this again than Saw 3 or Saw 3D. Let's just get this next one over with already.
Okay. Spiral from the Book of Saw. What the fuck is a Book of Saw? So, Spiral from the Book of Saw was directed once again by Darren Lynn Bousman, who directed films 2 through 4, and now Lionsgate dragged him back in to do another one. But I guess he didn't want to make another Saw film, so he just wanted to do his own thing with the series. If I was brought in to direct Saw 9, it would have been a much different thing than being brought in to direct Spiral. And I think it's important for me to differentiate the two. Spiral from the Book of Saw is not called Saw 9 for a reason. It's because it's the 9th installment of this franchise, but it's not Saw 9, because there will never be another Tobin Bell, there will never be another Jigsaw. There's only one Tobin Bell. and no one can hold a candle to what he brought into that character. So for me, I wanted to go a completely different way. I wanted the killer to be so different from Jigsaw that there would be no comparison to that. They are different people, so when you start going down that road, you have to change out kind of everything. Because if you're trading out Jigsaw, you've got to change out the doll as well. So what Darren Lynn Bousman is saying is that he was brought back to do another Saw film, but that's not what he wanted to do. His ass wanted to make something completely different. Okay, sure. I gotta respect the man for wanting to try and do something different. But it's a fucking Saw film. When you take away its roots, you don't have a Saw film. There's no fucking reason to change things because you have 8 films to work off of. This guy worked on multiple Saw films, so now he wants to start heading in a new direction for the series. But this wasn't all started from Darren's idea. No. This new film idea was brought from none other than Chris Rock himself.
I don't know, I bumped into the head of Lionsgate at a friend's wedding. And I don't know, I was like, Lionsgate, what do they make? There's probably no more Hunger Games for me to be in. Hey, how about Saw? Let me get in Saw. You know, if you can add a little comedy into Saw, I think it could go a long way.
Has Chris Rock ever seen a Saw film? You and I both know this. You've been with me on this journey for the past hour now, so you and I both know just how fucking hilarious this franchise can get. So what exactly did Chris Rock think he could bring to the table now after we have 8 of these fucking movies?
Let's find out.
So the movie opens with Detective Fucknuts walking around a 4th of July celebration downtown. Then all of a sudden a woman's purse gets snatched and Fucknuts has to stop him. He chases him down into the subway where, oh shit, and now he's in a trap. His tongue is attached to this device and he's gotta jump and rip his tongue out or else he's gonna get hit by a train. How the fuck did whoever put this guy in a trap get all this shit down there, and on top of that, set it all up before a train came in and squashed him? I'm guessing what, like a train would come through there about once or twice every hour? Whatever, he dies, and now I'm gonna need y'all to put on a second pair of socks, just in case they're blown off from how hilarious the comedy in this movie is.
He made $1 billion selling shrimp, and she still wouldn't fuck him.
Hey, eventually they got together.
Yeah. After she got AIDS, as soon as she got AIDS, she's like, hey, Forrest.
Uh-oh, Richard.
But it's a very serious film, and he does it very seriously, and I think he's great in it.
So Chris Rock and the gang are gearing up for a robbery, I think. They bust into this guy's hotel room, and we get some excellent line delivery from Chris.
I want that money! I want everything!
So they all head out and uh-oh, the police bust them. And it turns out that Chris Rock is a cop who is going undercover without the knowledge of his fellow officers, and now they're pissed at him.
You are off on your own as usual. No backup, nothing.
No backup, because there's nobody on the force I can fucking trust!
Was that a joke?
I always look at comedy as a spice. You know, you do a movie like Dumb and Dumber, yes, comedy's the meal. But in a movie like this, it's just a spice you pour on the movie. Yeah, I talked to the screenwriters, we communicated back and forth, but my whole thing was just write a cop movie. And when you guys are done, I'll figure out where to put, you know, the spice of comedy.
So now, to Chris Rock's misfortune, he is stuck with a new rookie partner. And now they got their first assignment together. They gotta go to the subway and investigate the body from the previous trap we just saw. Huh, get it, Saw. Oh, what the fuck is this music? It's a Saw movie, guys. Chris Rock starts yapping to his new partner about how he won't be able to see his wife and kids that often because of this job. And I guess Chris Rock thought this dialogue was so riveting and interesting that in the next scene we have this whole take of him yapping about divorce and cheating on a partner.
Not yet. I'm going through a divorce. That's even worse. It's kind of like chemo.
Shit, sorry.
Sorry for what? With cops. Women cheat too. It hurts. God damn it, it hurts. You can get away with a lot of shit in the daytime. That's right. You can ride a lot of dick before dusk.
Are these jokes? Like, was this the spice of comedy you desperately needed to add to this Saw movie?
A Chris Rock Saw movie? Are you fucking kidding? I'm sorry for the language. You can beep that out. I as a Saw fan, want to see that movie.
The problem is the tone of this movie so far is not comedic in any way. And it's not like this film is constantly poking fun at itself, it's played out very seriously.
There's humor in it, but it's not a comedy. You know what I mean? It's not scary movie, you know? But I think we pulled it off.
They fucking finally arrive at the scene of the crime and...
You're gonna throw up, don't do it on the evidence.
Once Chris Rock and his partner make it back to the station, he receives a present in the mail with a flash drive. But then they notice the location of where the video was filmed at was at the courthouse. And then they go there and find another box with a tongue and a badge of the officer who was killed in the trap. Then we get this tense and riveting scene from Chris Rock.
Boz was my friend! Boz played with my kid! We went to fucking games! Fuck me? No! Fuck you!
Fucking assholes.
Zeke!
It's so hard to tell when he's trying to be serious because this scene is fucking hilarious. When he's trying to actually act, it's funny, but when he's trying to be funny, it's the scariest fucking thing about this movie. We get some pointless scenes that drag on for far too long.
Are we really gonna do this here?
No. Not today.
Until, uh-oh, looks like Chris Rock's apartment door is open. Looks like one of Jigsaw's helpers must be inside. Oh, no, it's just Sam Jackson. And now you might be thinking, oh shit, Samuel Jackson's in this. Thank God, maybe we can get some actual good acting. But unfortunately for us, the writers of this film managed to make one of the most fucking basic Samuel Jackson characters of all time. Gotta make him say motherfucker 1,000 times.
But then, when you get a call that, oh, by the way, Sam Jackson is going to play his dad, immediately the first thing I thought was, all right, well, we're writing the word motherfucker in there somewhere because it's got to be that.
You want to play games, motherfucker?
And then you hear that Samuel L. Mother effing Jackson is a part of it? Come on, that changes everything, right?
So yeah, you get one of the greatest actors to ever live in your stupid ass movie, and you write him into the movie as just Samuel L. Jackson.
Does he look like a bitch? What?
In Pulp Fiction, you see him as Jules, not Samuel L. Jackson. Fuck, even in Marvel movies, you see him as Nick Fury. In Spiral, it's just Samuel L. Jackson, nothing else. He's just here to say motherfucker a few times and get his paycheck.
But when Sam Jackson came on, it's suddenly now truly the biggest Saw movie ever, just in terms of noticeable cast. I mean, we were already there with Chris. I mean, Chris Rock would have been the biggest name to ever be a part of a Saw movie, and now you have Samuel Jackson coming in, so everything gets bigger.
The day they told me they got Sam, I was like, wow, it's on. This is gonna make some noise.
Good for him, I guess, but these writers just didn't know what else to do with him. Sam leaves, and now this movie just gets fucking worse from here.
Thank you.
Don't drain my battery watching Twilight.
Was that a fucking Twilight joke in 2021? Maybe we did deserve it. We spent way too much time investigating and trying to find the footage of when Detective Fucknuts went down into the sewer. Nothing progresses the plot, and we just linger and linger on this for so much. Until, uh-oh, this guy gets captured and he's put in a trap. Oh shit, let's see what you got. I mean, this has been a shit show, but maybe the traps will be good.
Hello, Detective Fitch. I want to play a game.
Hey, Zeke. William, what are you doing up?
What the fuck? Huh? So, we're just showing the aftermath first, and then the traps? Fucking okay. Literally all the tension when they do finally show the trap is lost because we already know this dude doesn't make it out alive. And you could argue that, yeah, most people don't make it out, but I feel like it's the fact we are along with them as they go through the trap, and that's why it's so effective. Maybe they could make it out alive. Sometimes they do, and it gives you this feeling of relief. But what are we supposed to feel when this dude is in the trap and we already know he dies? It just fucking sucks. Darren, pull your head out of your ass. Now we get a flashback scene, and in like typical Saw fashion, what do you do when you want to de-age a character? Do you A, give them a mustache, B, make them wear a backwards hat, C, give them a haircut? Actually, it's fucking all of the above. They just slapped a Mario mustache on Sam Jackson and gave this chick bangs, and then made Chris Rock wear a snapback. I'm fucking losing my goddamn mind. It turns out that Chris Rock turned in a dirty cop that was killing innocent people, so that's why half of the force hates him, I guess. They get yet another message with a Walmart version of Billy, and then they go to the location of where the video was filmed, finding another box with that one dude's fingers. They find his body, and now we get to see the trap. Does it even fucking matter if we see it at this point? The way they formatted this whole film is so fucking annoying. It's not even cool. It's not even fun. It's just boring by this point. But now that's out of the way, it's time for some more hilarious buddy cop moments.
It's got everything on it. I got passcodes, I got Netflix, Hulu, Uber Eats, Postmates, lots of food,
You're just referencing apps. What was even the fucking joke here? You're just saying brands. Is that supposed to be funny? Some more scenes happen. They meet with the dirty cop Chris Rock turned in, and then, uh-oh, the next day, Chris Rock hasn't seen his partner yet. Uh-oh, a new package has come in. This reaction is fucking hilarious. Oh no, it's the skin of his partner. Chris Rock and the gang go to a local butcher shop and oh no, it's his partner. Totally his partner. In all honesty, this means fucking nothing, because we know that in horror movies, if you kill someone off screen, that means that they aren't fucking dead. But yeah, apparently Chris Rock's partner got skinned alive, I guess. Sure, no trap for him, his ass just got skinned. This isn't Martyrs, Darren, this is Saw. Uh-oh, no time to think about that though, because the head of the department is about to get sawed. Hey, where my saw heads at? She gets put in this trap and then gets waterboarded by hot wax. Boring. Chris Rock chases to save her, but he's too late. And then we get this slow-mo shot of him looking all serious. Wow. Chris Rock has got some fantastic range in this movie. I wonder what compelling acting he's gonna do in the next scene. I hope this was a joke, because it was fucking hilarious. You really did it, Chris. You really did it. You made a funny Saw movie. Way better than Amazon and Uber Eats. So Chris Rock gets kidnapped too, and oh shit, he's gotta cut his arm off to get out. Oh, never mind, there's just a fucking bobby pin right next to him. It's in the middle of this random ass warehouse, but whatever. So he fallouts his way out of the handcuffs and finds his old partner who killed innocent people. And then Chris plays a tape from the twink voice Jigsaw.
I want to play a game. When Peter Dunleavy murdered an innocent man, your career was shattered like glass.
And so now all he has to do is get a key somehow and free him while broken up glass shoots out of this machine and into his old partner. How the fuck did this machine get in there? I have no clue and I don't fucking care. Got any explanations for us, Darren? No? Okay. What about you, Chris? Okay. His partner gets absolutely melted by the glass until Chris Rock remembers the tape said something about throwing away a key. He looks in the trash and oh wow, there it is. And then he does this weird fucking Captain America moment with the trash can and unlocks the chain, but he took such a long fucking time and now his old partner's dead. Oh well, let's see what the next part of this game is like. Great fucking job, Darren. You managed to make the worst twist in a Saw film to date. Of course he wasn't dead. Of course it was his partner. Of fucking course this movie's a pile of diarrhea dog shit. But why?
Why?
Why the fuck did he go through all this to join the police academy and get put in the exact same station as Chris Rock to be his partner and help him solve the murders that he committed? To fool the audience? Well, we knew for a fact he wasn't dead because they didn't show his death, so what was the point? Turns out that this guy in the last trap that died killed his father when he was younger, so he's been plotting for his revenge for the past 20 years of his life. And now he's successful in killing these dirty cops. He even asks Chris Rock to help him, and he actually agrees. Okay, this could get interesting, but don't get your hopes up because this is Spiral from the Book of Saw we're talking about here. So Chris Rock's partner calls the cops for them to arrive soon and then buys them some time for Chris Rock's final test. They move into the next room where, oh hey, it's Samuel L. Jackson. And all Chris Rock has to do is shoot the target at the top and his dad is free, but he's only got one bullet. and can either just shoot his partner or save his dad. Ooh, this is so intense. Chris Rock shoots the target, freeing his dad, and then the two get into a fight while the cops bust down the door. The ending happens so fucking fast that I'm just gonna let you watch this unfold. Spiral meets most of the technical qualifications of a movie. It's trying to do all of these things all at once, and it can't even do one of those things well. It's not funny, it's not scary, it's not thrilling. It's a convoluted mess of a million different tones, and it just doesn't work. If you truly wanted to make a funny Saw movie, then you have to ease back on taking yourself too seriously. You gotta poke at the film's holes and laugh at it. But this film has so many scenes where it's telling you, oh, it's supposed to be serious now. This isn't funny anymore. We're getting dark and twisted now. This movie's as good as 7.
Believe it or not, I watched 7 again to get into that mindset, because to me the script read like that.
All they wanted to do was turn 7 into a Saw film, but what makes 7 work so well is how deep and rich that mystery and story was behind it all. That film's moments of levity managed to feel unsafe and uncomfortable. Spiral has no mystery. It's so fucking predictable with every turn it tries to make. It's not just a bad Saw movie. It's a fucking terrible movie in general. I guess that spice of comedy didn't work out for you well, Chris.
Yep.
It's all been leading up to this. Released just this past September, Saw 10, or Saw X, or Socks, takes place fully in between the events of Saw 1 and Saw 2, around the time when Amanda and Hoffman were helping the legend himself out with these traps. But after almost 20 years of the Saw franchise, it took us 10 films to finally put John Kramer as the main character of a Saw film. No Dr. Gordon, no Adam, nothing. We follow John Kramer through the whole movie. But is it the best Saw film ever made? Is it one to finally return this original timeline on the big screen? Only one way to find out. It's time to finally finish this fucking long journey with Socks. The film opens up with John Kramer getting an MRI scan before going to a cancer support group. He meets with a doctor before stumbling upon a man in the process of stealing someone's stuff. John glares at him, but oh shit, he's already in a trap. God damn, Jigsaw, you move pretty fucking quickly. What this guy has to do is break each one of his fingers, and if he doesn't act fast enough, his eyes will be sucked out of his skull. Sick. And he actually does it, but not quick enough. Hey, at least he tried. Better luck next time. We even got back all the crazy editing in this one. Fun shots, great music cuts, it's all genuinely a lot of fun. But holy shit, that was all just in the head of John. And what we saw is what could have happened to this dude.
Good choice.
John hangs out and writes his will, but bumps into a familiar face, Henry, who was in his cancer support group. Henry says how he had an operation that completely removed his cancer and now he's happier and healthier than ever. John gets the doctor's information and contacts them later that night, who says they can open up a spot for him, but John's gonna have to take a little field trip to Mexico for the surgery. He makes it to Mexico and oh my god, why is everything yellow? Thank god everything outside is colored with this yellow tint or I would have forgotten where I was. He makes it to the building and meets with some new characters like Gabriella and Cecilia, who will be performing the surgery with her team, Mateo and Valentina. John and Cecilia walk in just as they finished up a successful surgery with a man named Parker who had throat cancer, who wishes John luck and makes him even more excited and comfortable with his surgery the next day. Later that night, John hears a noise outside and finds a boy named Carlos who has a broken wheel on his bike. John helps Carlos fix his bike, and this movie so far has honestly been really great, if I'm being honest. And it's these wholesome scenes like this with John fixing this kid's bike that make him actually likable and show him as just a sweet old man. The next day his surgery occurs and he keeps poking in and out of consciousness. The surgeons notice him looking at the recordings of his surgery before they turn it away from him. He wakes up the next day after his surgery and we actually get some incredibly moving moments for John's character. John's cancer is gone. He even begins to throw away his plans on future traps, and it's almost like John's life is turned around. About a day later, John returns to the building with a bottle of liquor to show his gratitude for the people that helped him, but oh shit. Everything is left in shambles and there's no one around. He wanders into the surgery room and discovers a DVD? He presses play and oh my god, they never did surgery on him. Although I guess you could have easily predicted this, that doesn't ruin these moments of John Cherish Yo Life Kramer finally cherishing his own life. It's kind of fucking sad seeing him realize that he's still going to die from his cancer. On to the killing! Diego's up first, who was a part of the whole scam and was the taxi driver that brought him up there. Diego's got 2 bombs strapped to his arms and he's gotta cut the cancer free. Nicely played, Jigsaw. The scene has some of the most realistic gore I've ever seen in a Saw film thus far, and holy shit, he actually makes it out alive. Time for a kidnapping montage. John calls up a detective for help. Oh shit, are we gonna see Hoffman in this one? We catch up with Valentina, who's up in the club, and then she goes outside with this one dude, but his cocky want boing boing, but his efforts get stopped by someone in a pig mask. Uh-oh. Whee! Mateo hangs out at his real job at the dog kennel, but uh-oh. Shit. Bzz, zap, zap. Then Gabrielle is popping pills in the bathroom before someone outside starts taking a sniff around. Oops. Now it's Cecilia's turn to get jump scared, and we see her giving the same old scam script to another poor soul. She hears some odd noises outside and goes to check the cameras before... I gotta give it to them, that was pretty fun. But hold up, I just noticed something. If this is supposed to take place before Saw 2, then why the fuck are there flat screens? Did y'all just forget? Doesn't matter because Amanda's back, baby! And the whole gang wakes up in their first game. But now Valentina's up first and she's given her tool to freedom.
What the hell is that?
It's a JIGSAW.
I thought you said there was a key.
He was speaking metaphorically. He does that a lot.
Amanda this time around actually manages to be a pretty fun character. And Shawnee Smith does a pretty great job this time around. In the first ones, her character just felt off, like it was over-exaggerated. But here, her character feels so much more grounded and realistic. And I gotta say, even Tobin Bell is really giving it his all this time around, and it might just be the best performance out of him in this whole series.
All of you promised dying people. Dying people! You could save their lives. And in doing so, you took advantage of the only thing that they still possessed. Hope.
Valentina begins her test. Basically, she has to cut her own leg off, then extract the fat from her leg to avoid getting her head cut off. Holy shit, Jigsaw. I hate to say it, but Saw X might actually be one of the goriest Saw films. The effects department did one hell of a job because I definitely cannot show this to you. Valentina actually goes for it, and the way this part is edited genuinely makes me more squeamish than any of the Saw films I've ever seen. Jesus Christ. Well, anyway, Valentina doesn't make it through, and while John and Amanda are upstairs, the group downstairs hears a phone ring on the table. Unable to reach it, they're gonna need a rope to get it.
We have a rope.
No. Jesus Christ. Cecilia uses Valentina's intestines as a rope to get the phone, but Amanda comes in to stop her. Then all of a sudden, Parker strolls up to the building and he's pissed because he also found out that his treatment was fake and wants his money back. And now I gotta ask, how long have they been running this scam without them getting caught or even being sued by the people they've cured? It seems they've had quite a few customers judging by the board in her office. So is this the first time someone has found out quickly enough to get back at them? Parker then gets knocked the fuck out. When he wakes up, he's tied to a chair and gets a front row seat of John's new game. But oh shit, now it's Mateo's turn, and he has to extract a piece of his brain and dissolve it in acid before the time runs out. He almost makes it too, but then he gets air fried. After this, we get a genuinely heartfelt moment between Amanda and John.
The reality is, I'm dying. You have to face that. But our work's not gonna end. And I'm trusting you to carry on.
Gabrielle is up next, and now she's being hoisted up in the air, and she'll have to either break her leg first or her arm to free herself from this heat radiation machine. She starts with her leg and swings out of the way, and she's made it. But with perfect comedic timing, the machine moves in front of her again, and she manages to make it out. John tells Amanda to rush her to the hospital, but oh shit, Parker's got his gun again. He makes them go downstairs, and turns out that Cecilia and Parker are fucking. But Gabriella still needs to get to the hospital ASAP, but Cecilia breaks her neck, instantly killing her. And they force John to get into the trap he made for her. But it's made for two people, so Cecilia has a wonderful idea. She hears the young boy Carlos outside and brings him in, and forces the kid to get in the trap with John. Holy shit, this chick is worse than John. Parker pulls the switch and the trap begins. John and the kid take turns getting waterboarded by pig blood. John pulls the lever and keeps it on his side so that Carlos is safe, but he pulls the lever to save John. It's genuinely a crazy moment as John is ready to die to save this kid. John keeps the lever pulled towards him to not let Carlos pull it, but Cecilia and Parker flee upstairs. Until Parker has a moment of realization.
But if you were the last player, who was supposed to be on the other side of that plank?
Fuck yes. You cannot tell me that was not the hardest needle drop in this franchise. My ass started levitating in the theater when I saw this. Amanda, John, and Carlos escape, but Cecilia and Parker are fucked.
You are a warrior, my boy. A warrior.
Are you okay?
Not exactly as we planned it, but...
Turns out that John already knew that Parker and Cecilia were together, as this guy from the first trap, Diego, basically just told him all the information he would need. And it's time for their final game. Gas fills up the room and they need to fight for a chance to breathe through this hole.
The door is just locked behind you. You thought this was a tour. Your test begins now. I know how much you don't like smelly smells. I know how much you think it's disgusting. Gas. The gas will start flowing.
Cecilia kills Parker and keeps her head through the hole. John gives all Cecilia's money to Carlos, and together, they all walk out into a new day. Wow. But that's not all, because we got a Marvel end credits scene up in this bitch. John links up with that one guy who told him that his cancer was cured, but yup, he was lying too. Oh shit, is that Hoffman?
I call that epic bad luck.
Fuck yeah.
Saw X was released on September 29th to, for the first time ever, critical acclaim? Wait, am I dreaming? Yeah, this is the first Saw film to be rated certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Hell, even fresh. The fans won with this one. Not only was it the first Saw film to have John Kramer as the main character, it also had some of the most grounded and heartfelt moments in the entire series. And sure, you could say that they were making a murderous psychopath seem sympathetic, but it's not like they're exactly saying what he's doing is good. Never once do they justify his intentions as something good. But Jigsaw for once finally feels grounded. It just felt like a regular human being rather than an all-seeing god that just knows everything. And it was cool to have a Jigsaw revenge story. That was just so badass to see. So yeah, I feel comfortable with it being in the top spot for now. Saw 1 has some great original ideas that takes them in interesting directions, but I feel like the constant flashbacks and explanations keep me from coming back to it. Saw X is the flashback movie. There's no need to have them because you don't really need them. If you've seen all the films this far, you already know what's going on. They cut the bullshit and give us what we wanted. And fuck, if Saw 11 continues off where we're left in Saw X, I'm already sold. Apparently Hoffman and John are in it, so I'm very excited to see what they're cooking up next.
It'll be an honor and a pleasure to be a part of it because there's so many journeys and characters and so many twists and turns. If it ever ends, it should end on a great, great note. But the boys at the top have to make the decision of what they're going to do. And I've been sworn to secrecy, but you can only pray for an extra shot, you know what I mean?
All right, we did it. Oh, fuck. We talked about every Saw film to come out in the last 20 years. As this franchise continues to evolve, one thing is... Oh, fuck. John! As this franchise continues to evolve, one thing remains certain, is that Jigsaw's legacy will continue to haunt the world of horror for years to come. Horror cinema fascinates me, and watching these movies feels like living back in a time when these movies were the new type of trendy popcorn horror, as it was when Friday the 13th came out, or how people felt watching any of these horror franchises as they were being released. Throughout me making this whole video, I kept thinking about how this was definitely the biggest year for me doing Saw Month. And I wonder if I'm gonna have to take a break from doing Saw Month next year. Since every day in May, the first thought I had when I woke up was about these goddamn movies. But who knows? Next year we're getting Saw 11, so I might as well just rewatch them anyway. But that's a year away from now. And this video is finally over. Go away. I'm fucking going to bed.